Alright guys, welcome back. So I was testing a theory that I have constantly tested behind the scenes, right? Because it's like, this is one of those decks that like, you have to try like be like, okay, well, how should I build it? How should I approach this? Should I be all gas? Like, should I just go all for all extenders? Everything has synergy with itself and just try to combo off and put everything on the field. Mid-range approach, right? Where you just go all in. Synchrons are known to be that type of deck. You just go all in, right? And he just scoops because I'm assuming he's aware of what this deck is meant to be doing. He's like, yeah, no hand traps. Okay, so right away, look at this. So I did not know what I was playing against, so I left the deck intact. So like, okay, everything is main deck. I'm main decking traps, and that's one of the biggest differences this deck has at the moment. Because if you go back to one of the previous builds where I was playing like junk with paleo, like we're like the paleos, because the paleos become like an interaction, and it become materials for the junk, right? It's a level 2. Whenever you activate a trap, you summon itself from the graveyard, and then you can you did two things with one card. It's fulfilling a purpose of interacting and hindering your opponent so they don't do whatever the heck they want. And then on top of that, you have a bit of a synergy with junk because you can make speeder that way. And this time I took a similar approach, except it's much more high impact traps like torrential strike, and if you get to see it, lost wind as well, because having these type of traps lets you have these clever interactions that you can like not be precise with them. You can like kind of like hold off on them just to the brink of death. Like you can like go to like the very limits of what you're allocated with your life points, right? Like sometimes taking a 3k direct attack and leaving you on 16 is a difference from being able to draw in that next card the following turn and then pushing, and then having that one solemn strike be much more impactful paired up with your established synchros, right? Because like if you like, it's hard to explain. But the more the duel goes on, you'll get to see it. Right now I'm not really expecting much because I'm like, oh well, there's no way he doesn't have like strikes or like solemns, and like, you know, like there's just no way. I have double nib, like I don't know, like I know nib is good against solid, but like he's just setting so many back rows. I'm like, what is he playing? Like, oh my god, look at, he's just drawing all these things. Like my hand's loaded. Okay, so I have lost wind, I have slum strike, so I feel fine. You know, like I gotta make sure that the link doesn't hit the field to prevent the roar from stopping the nib. Then I have lost wind is purely there just for like the wind does the omni negates. You know, like they have like a card economy wise, it's amazing because you can use it the moment they summon something else from the extra deck. You reset it, and then you can just use it again. And like when you attempt to make your push, you can just like they try to negate it with Baroness or like Crystal Wing or Winda or something, and you can just negate it. And it's a permanent negate, and it's a permanent half, which is insane. Like it makes your little monsters a bit more threatening because you can run over them. Unless it's like anything above 26 can be a bit problematic, but anything 25 and under, you can run over with junk or start a Synchron. This is the smart play. That goes attack, play it on strike, get damage in, right? Because if you went to the wolf right away without attacking, then he missed out on the life points he could have given me. It puts the opponent or the player attempting to use a strike, puts a little bit more pressure, puts him on a clock, you know, on a faster clock. So this is a smart play because you want to like any little incrementally. This is how it's meant. The game is going, so he wants to be assured that little by little is chipping away at my life points. And then he goes for the thing, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way. I just scoop it up. And then, oh my god, look at this Van Tan. Okay, so this is one of the biggest, I guess, issues that might seem like it's a big deal, but not necessarily. And this is the intent, and this is what I mean. Like sometimes you can't take things at face value, right? Because make sure I'm freaking my mic's on, because last time I recorded and my mic was off. It was just annoying. Okay, so considering that, yeah, you open up torrential, solemn, and your lost wind. Of course, this is not combo, but it's meant to set up disruptions to where you can let your opponent play, let them deplete, let them attempt to establish themselves, and then you just interact with them with this torrential, solemn, Lost Wind, right? To get your setup ready for when you do draw your engine, which is a tuning, converter, Stardust, you know. So that means like everything that they would have ended on without any hinders, that's non-existent because you completely stopped them. You know, like you're not really scared of their establishment because you ended it. I saw him this because I was like, and it forces him to invest more of his hand, right? Because he's already done 4 cards, so he's like, well, this is a combo deck. But at this point he's a bit confused because he's like, what the heck? Like he has like traps. And he's playing junk. He's playing an aggressive deck, so it's a bit hard to read. It's hard to gauge, right? Because like you're like, how do I approach this? You know, it's kind of weird because it gives him like this psychological psych of okay, you spook him, right? Because like, oh, I have to commit now because otherwise I'm gonna lose anyways. But then he couldn't commit. He couldn't extend because all he had was hand traps. But that was my intent for the Solemn Judgment. I'm pretty sure to have him invest and fall into the tribute. He draws into the right here. I say think. I think I say think. I'm pretty sure I say yeah. I say think because I'm like I want him to think I have it on the judgment, and yeah, it was a brief think, but like just as long as I planted the seed, and he just keeps drawing a bunch of hand traps. I'm like, oh my god, I strike this because I'm like, well, I have to go for it now, right? I was not gonna go for like full combo. I was just gonna go for like a crystal and attack and poke and just, you know, but like he ended up valuing it, which is fair. I mean, of course, some of you might ask, why didn't the guy just wait, you know? But then I think what he was thinking about is he wanted to bait the strike so then I can fall into the nib, which is something I was doing previously. Yeah, I judgmented the consistency card to I guess have him like overcommit to the torrential. Like little things like that make the biggest difference. I draw on the overtake. It's fine. And I'm not sure. This logic, I'm not sure about this. Like, I would have just waited for everything. I don't know. But I guess he just wanted to just, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Double nib. And right here, this is under 4 summons. This is under 4 summons, which is insane. Because the Doppel's 1, 2, 3, 4. But the tokens. And winning with Junk Warrior never gets old. Look at that. That's GG, mate. That's so good. See what I mean? And then like the traps are a high impact to the point it can be a bit weird, of course, because like when you have your established board, you're like, oh, what the heck? What do I do? Like you don't want to destroy your board. You don't want to do that. But it's more so like a contingency plan, right? You don't have to use it. It's just for like those plays where you could push, but you can be like, no, hang on, let me take it slow, but let me just let me let him deplete his hand and deplete his resources, so then I can get one more card to reinforce my push. You know? Okay, so here's this. So like I mentioned before, it's high impact traps, right? Of course, you have like Nibiru and Valor to sequence out with Torrential because it lets you have these blowout scenarios where you just are not scared of any deck, any combo deck, because this takes care of majority of them, right? If they're like contingency plays, right? Where like if this fails, then this and this won't fail, type of thing, right? And it's a certain impactful sequence that's certain, right? You can be assured that when you resolve this, you timed it at the appropriate time when you know that, okay, this is gonna be crippling, right? Because they depleted their resources to the point where they felt secure because you given that precedent, right? Like you made them feel like, okay, what can that be? It's like, you know, that can't be that. And then it's more like a surprise take on it. It's a surprise factor, and that's where it's meant to be shining because like they don't expect it, and then that's what allows you to be clever. Like having these two in sequence is amazing. It's the same thing. I wanted more things to have like a equalizer, right? Nib and this amazing. Nib and this amazing. Nib and Valor amazing. And then of course Torrential with any of these traps is amazing, right? Because it counters any Omni that would I guess attempt to negate Torrential or attempt to negate the Nibiru, right? And then once you've hindered them and just crippled them and just basically ended their turn, you just capitalize with your engine, right? That's the approach that I was considering when taking this build, right? Because yeah, I mean, hopefully it made sense. I mean, that's basically what it's meant to be. Like that's basically what a mid-range deck is meant to be, right? So that's basically what I attempted to do here. Of course, are those times where like you draw your traps, but you don't get the engine to capitalize with, right? You know, it's like, I was a bit which is why like maybe desires just to give that extra I guess consistency. But then like playing one of this and one of this, it's a bit scary, you know. So maybe like I don't know, but then I don't know. It varies. I guess it varies. It's preference. I think once you start getting to that point, once you get to that percentage and ratios talk. But yeah, I mean everything's the same apart from that. But that's gonna be it. Hopefully enjoy the video. Let's subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.